Well, hi folks, and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, as you can see, I'm not on a Harley Davidson today. I'm standing beside a helicopter, and we're about to get in the chopper with a very talented woman, Debbie Lambert. And Debbie is a plein air artist. She's incredibly good at what she does workshops all over the place with plein air artists. And we're going to head up into those hills, those mountains over there, and find a very isolated place so that she can set her easel up and do a picture for us today. We'd like to thank Malcolm, who's the station owner of Mesopotamia Farm. He puts up with a lot of artists on occasions, but he's going to take us out there today, and we're going to see some pretty spectacular country as we fly out as well. So I'll go and get Malcolm, I'll go and get Debbie. Let's start this chopper and let's get out into the wilderness and have a great day. Alright guys, well as you can see the helicopter has dropped us off up in the mountains. We've got a little bit of wind in the background, so you're probably hearing that today. But Deb Lambert.
Hi.
What an adventure, what an amazing woman as well. I mean, plein air extraordinaire. You've got a bit of a background in doing this. I mean, your mum was an artist as well, wasn't
Correct,
she?
yeah.
Went a long way back, and you've got a double major in art also. Basically your life, once again, I mean, we meet people that have just been completely dedicated to doing what they do since you're a kid. I mean, why did you choose plein air in the end? What's the story with that?
Oh, I love the adventure of going out and finding new places and little hidden gems here and there. And for me, it's grown my art.
Yeah.
You know, because there's an honesty here when you're painting. You just gives you so much more. Gives you heart and soul of the country. You
It's
just
fantastic.
can't get it from a photo.
No, and the fact is that you take people out. I mean, you do workshops, and the fact that you've got the availability of aircraft and helicopters, and then the access to Mesopotamia Station Farm, which is literally this is it, isn't it?
This is my playground.
It's unbelievable. It's just amazing. So. But we're going to do this today. I mean, as far as plein air is concerned, I mean, generally most people won't fly into a location in a helicopter by any means. But the equipment that you have, you really don't need a lot to get to where you need to go, do you?
No. Just the easel.
Yeah.
Food, and make sure you've got the right sort of clothing.
Yeah.
And make sure that you've got a suitable canvas.
Yeah. And in New Zealand they call it sort of tramping.
Yeah.
Sort of put your backpack on.
So I also have four-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah.
And I've taught myself how to cross rivers and streams and stay in backcountry huts and things. So it's pretty exciting.
And that's fantastic. And we actually have one of the backcountry huts just behind us as well, so that if you sort of get stuck out here, you can stay in there as well. But we're going to let Deb actually start on her piece today. It's spectacular scenery. It really is quite incredible where we are. And I think the envy of just about everybody that's watching the show. I mean, New Zealand is a spectacular place to be, and this lady here, if you want to do plein air in this gorgeous country, I think Deb's definitely the person to talk to. But I'm going to get out of shot once again. I'm going to ask you some questions, but you're the boss now,
Cool.
So let me get out of the way.
Itching to get into it.
Yeah. Okay, Deb, well, you've got your palette laid out. Now, what type of paints do you use?
I'm using the Franc Bourgeois paints.
And so what do you prefer those over other ones?
It's what I started with, I guess. So you get used to mixing the colours, very familiar with how they work. I love the intensity of pigment. And I've tried other ones over the years, but I just keep going back to these ones because, yeah.
I was going to say
it's like wearing an old coat.
Yeah, fair enough. And the spatula you've got was originally your mum's.
Yeah, I've got a few of these, but this is my favourite. It's just a nice little round egg-shaped one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's see what Deb Lambert does with plein air and how you set this out for a start.
Right. So I've got linen on board today,
Yep.
and I've taped it because I'll end up putting a wee mat around it and then framing it.
Yep.
I always start off with dirty terps, so it doesn't later come through, and very, very brief outline, and then I'll be getting into it.
Fantastic.
So I'm just establishing my horizon line, which is really close today. So just bearing in mind the sort of third and a third.
Yeah, I mean in country like this, it's 360 degrees and basically you've got scenery everywhere.
It's
amazing.
One of the hardest things that people find when they paint plein air is actually establishing where they're going to paint and how they're going to sort of capture it. It's a decision of making the decision. Which one do I choose? How and where do I start? I'm just going to change the foreground a wee bit because I've got a really nice wee pond down here that I just want to get into it.
And you actually made a special cover, obviously travelling around in a helicopter. Yeah. So you've actually got a cover that you can fit over the top of that so that the oil doesn't, obviously because it's not going to dry.
Yeah, so what I've done is got just wee slices of wood that fit here, and then I'll tape it with duct tape. I always travel with my duct tape. Yeah. So it's fixed all sorts of issues.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah,
so I'm just doing a very, very basic, brief outline, establishing the mountains, basically the outline of the hill, just trying to get a sort of flow of the painting.
Yeah.
When I'm painting mountains, I tend to paint them the way they're formed so that you get a really nice line of light just shifting down the hills. Right, so that's about as far as I'd do.
Yeah.
And then into the paint. Okay, so first of all I establish the sky. So today it's quite soft, so I'm just going to use the cerulean.
Yep.
Just to get a nice warmth into the sky. Always put it on with a palette knife because then you don't get too fussy about what's happening and you don't get too precious. It's a lovely way of just getting the paint on. So people that suffer from white fright or a bit nervous about painting or painting plein air, it's a lovely way of just getting some paint on and getting you started, and then you just start flowing with it. I'm going to have a lot of soft misty cloud today. So I'm getting quite a bit of white paint on at the moment.
You sort of originally started your life very much involved in art, but ended up marrying a dairy farmer.
I did.
So, had 3 children.
Yeah, luckily he's very supportive, so
that's great.
Means that I can get out and do this.
Yeah, it's so important to have a supportive partner, and particularly in this pursuit of art.
Yeah, right. So the next process after I've palette knifed on is scumbling, which is just really pushing the brush in, pushing it round, figure 8. So it's really just pushing the paint in. I hate canvas showing, so it's just really working the brush in into the canvas.
And so how often would you get out to do plein air, Deb?
As often as I can.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be weekends in a row, sometimes it'll be days on end. This year we went down to Glenorchy for 10 days. So it was every day and sometimes 2-3 spots a day.
Yeah.
When the weather's good, you just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so much does rely on the weather.
Yes, you've definitely got to be prepared to sort of rough it.
Having to...
I mean, not everybody's lucky enough to have a helicopter to fly them into where they need to go.
No.
But Mesopotamia Farm really is set up for that type of thing, particularly with your workshops.
Yeah,
you know, they can basically bed down 30 people.
So they've got 3 houses plus the old, what they used to use for the sharing quarters, sleeps about 30 people.
Okay.
And then they've got a couple of other houses that they utilise as well. So a lot of people coming in with photography, hunters, art workshops. It's very, very, very popular.
Oh, I bet, yeah. I mean, the country is just spectacular.
Yeah. 4-wheel drive people just coming through.
Yep.
Sue's got concessions for horse trekking. So it's it's a back country place, but it's amazing how busy it is. It's just always extras.
It's a long dirt road to get in there. I tell you.
Was it 50 k's off the main road?
Yeah, but that's the beauty about plein air. Is you
so
really...
we've also got part of the walkway, the Tiara walkway comes through here.
Okay.
So they get quite a few people coming through and doing that as well. Malcolm does pick-ups and drop-offs for those.
But you don't only paint in oils, you do watercolours as well, don't you?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you find the difference between painting plein air with oils and watercolours?
I've got to do a complete mind switch to get my head around it, because you're literally working opposite. So with watercolours you're working from your lights and leaving your lights and establishing your darks, and with the oils it's the other way around, so you're establishing your darks early and then building on your lights. It's challenging, but I like to do both, so I try and do both.
And you're very much involved in the community art scene in Ashburton. You actually have been the Vice President and the President of the Ashburton Art Society.
Yeah.
So there's a woman that's very dedicated to what she does.
Right, once I've got the sky to a certain stage, I can just get a large brush and lay it flat. So this just goes straight across. Very lightly.
Yep.
If you want to change around, like up here we get northwest winds.
Yes.
So if you want to change around, you can just change the angle of the brush, and it just creates, the light catches on your brush strokes and creates a completely different look. So, but today I'm just going to lay it flat.
Straight across.
Yeah, straight across. Right, sky's done.
Well done. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, not often do you see people really punching that brush in.
Yeah,
to them.
I love it because it, you can't get precious about your skies, and I think they turn out so much better if you are loose and they're not contrived. So it just happens, or it doesn't.
And being on board, bang, 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 away you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it pushes the paint into it. It's nothing worse than a painting that's got bits of white canvas showing through, because it's just a bit stingy. So
I can see in your resume that you've done a few trips overseas as well, and funnily enough, you've actually done some workshops with Amanda Hyatt, who's been on the show a couple of times.
Yeah, no,
Amanda's
awesome.
Pretty cool girl.
Yeah. Last year in July I did one with Alvaro.
Mr. Castanet.
Yes, yes. And the first one I did was with Charles Reed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who would you say has actually influenced your work a lot?
I started off with Randall Fruit with my first workshop, and I did oils and watercolour. So it was establishing all your lights, your darks, all your sort of basic skills, and then over the years I've attended a lot of workshops with a lot of different artists, and I think you just take from them the bits you like and make them yours, and make a cohesive sort of group of skills that you use, and add to them or detract from them depending on what you like.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, I mean, after doing this for as long as I have, it's a matter of gathering as much information as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've tutored a lot of people, and I just say to them, don't just stick to one tutor, go and try a whole heap, learn what you can, absorb what you can. You're going to have some that you don't necessarily click with, but there's always something, and if it's not the tutor, it's often the people in the class who give you your most valuable lessons.
So from what I can see in coming up here, I mean, it's funny enough, seems to be a lot of people in New Zealand actually watching Colour in Your Life these days, which is great. But you have a very strong arts community around here anyway.
Oh, we do. We've got an annual exhibition which has been going for 56 years.
Wow.
So it's very, very strong community of artists,
But unfortunately as well, because of the GFC, the global financial crisis, it sort of still affects all the galleries too. Oh,
yeah, galleries have been hit hard. Since I moved here in 2000, there's been at least 3 galleries that I've supplied to that have closed down over the years. So and I know they're struggling still to get just to stay afloat.
Yeah. Which is such a great shame. I mean, that's the beauty about what we do at Colour in Your Life, is that we enable you guys to have a much bigger audience.
Yeah. So I'm just establishing the base. I'll probably put the rocks on just with a palette knife. Generally, it's just patted on.
Yes, and in your illustrious career over these many years, you've painted some really, really beautiful pieces, and this is the beauty of plein air, is being able to get out and see these magnificent places. And one piece called The Confluence of Eric and St Winifred Streams.
Yeah.
Which is a spectacular looking piece.
Plein air has given an honesty to my work.
Yep.
There's so much you can't see on a photograph, and it just makes you really look at light, dark, shadows, formations that a photograph just doesn't quite capture. So I think for me it's certainly helped my work improve.
Yeah, I've heard that from a number of plein air artists that were filmed, and I think John Crump was, who you probably well know, is a great example of that. John down near Glenorchy. And that's exactly what he said. I mean, he said his whole painting style completely changed once he started plein air. So the picture that you've done called Winter Mistake Flat.
So Mistake Flat is again, it was part of this station years ago, and there's a dog hut up there, and Malcolm flew us in, and it was just amazing. It was in September and the weather was just perfect. It had snowed the night before, so during the day it disappeared very quickly, but yeah.
You've got a lot of great effects with the palette knife, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's magic. You can't muck around with it, you can't go back and paint too much with it. It's pretty much chuck it on and let it lay there.
I mean, generally you can sort of sit down and labour over a piece for days sometimes, or come out, do plein hair, let your hair down, so to speak.
Yeah.
Let the paint do the work for you.
I just tell my students permission to play.
I think it's important for people all over the world that watch Colour in Your Life, no matter which country you're in, have the opportunity to come down here and be part of what you're doing in this amazing scenery and setting. You know, part of plein air is getting to the locations, and you can do that here. But if somebody wanted to find out more information, what's your website address, Deb?
So it's just straight, deborahlambert.nz.
That's an easy one.
So easy. Keep it simple.
Yeah, I mean, go in there and have a look at what Deb's doing, and then look at the information on Mesopotamia Station. You know, it's not too often you can arrive in a location and there's $1 million helicopter sitting at the bottom of the hill waiting to take you out into the wilderness.
Yeah, so Mesopotamia Station, the helicopter and planes, they run it as station air. Very necessary for their station farming practices as well, but they do a lot of drop-ins, so, and very, very accommodating.
Yeah, you can see with your work, I mean, in comparison to say a watercolour plein air artist that's really just using the brush or the edge of a card, credit card, I mean, yours really is a balanced combination of the palette knife and the brush.
For me, painting's about contrast. It's about the lights and the darks, the soft and the hard, and for me the palette knife just gives it that nice hard edge as well. Okay, so I've just established a really nice dark area in through here with a big brush. So I've got ultramarine, burnt sienna, same colours that I've put through in the rock scree slopes or bits of rock up and through here and through here. So you're keeping the colour all harmony, all harmonising, so it works right through the painting. So I'm just doing a really dark spot here. Up in the mountains, these wee tarns that we have are often really, really dark. So it also creates a nice balance of light and dark. And I'm going to use the same dark that I've used in here and pop bits in for setting sort of those lovely chunky stones. So I'll just chuck a bit over here as well. So the water is always painted vertically, so you always pull it down, and then to lay it flat you just scooch across. Reflections I always paint down as well, and then to lay it flat you just I'll do it later, but I'll just probably put a wee line through here just to give it a bit of a wind line or something, and it just lays it beautifully flat and also helps with the steps with distance, so it helps draw the eye into the painting. Right, so I'm getting to the stage now where I really need to get back for my work. I can't reiterate enough that you've got to keep stepping back, going back, getting a bit of distance on it and having a look, and then it brings the whole painting in as a unit instead of just being up close and getting too absorbed in it. So I'll just go back and see what I need to do.
Always step back, squint your eyes.
Oh, absolutely, yep. When you're working up really close, often you get so absorbed and you start tidying things up, and you need to get back and see the whole picture.
Yep.
So I'm looking and seeing that I need to do some more what I call stepping stones, or just steps down in the foreground on the right hand side, just to anchor that a wee bit more and give that wee stream a bit more shape. So back into the white snow again.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the piece Mount Arrowsmith Range?
So Mount Arrowsmith is the next valley over.
Yeah.
And just absolutely like this, picturesque, tall rugged mountains, lots of snow, just gorgeous. So that one, we did a 4-wheel drive trip over the Mount Arrowsmith station and just ducked in down the back, loaded up the gear, spent a day painting. Right, just putting the last wee bit in, Graham, and I think we're done, dusted.
Great job.
Pretty happy with this. So, would you like a reveal?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Right, just going to take the tape off.
There you go, just like it's been framed.
Just like I bought one.
Great job. A great day in a beautiful location with a very talented lady.
Thank you.
You have a pretty amazing life.
I do.
It's incredible, it's really, really cool. Now, the workshops that Deb does, I think that if you want to come into this particular area of this country, it's an amazing country anyway. Your website is?
deborahlambert.nz.
And come along and book in. I mean, this is definitely a bucket list for anybody that loves art and loves plein air. It's an absolute must. Also want to thank, once again, New Zealand Artist. I mean, these guys are always backing us up. They have fantastic artists in this magazine. Go and see Rob and Megan. Get a subscription out. They're really fantastic guys as well. And you can also come in and see us at colourinayourlife.com.au. Go and see us on Facebook. Tons of people on YouTube. We've got a lot of members in the website these days. It's really cool. But from this incredibly beautiful location, very grateful. That was fantastic in the helicopter. Thanks, it really was. We could always say put some colour in your life, but I think it's probably put some snow and mountains in your life as well, isn't it? So, but thanks guys, until we see you again, make sure you put some colour in your life. See you. Bye now.
See ya.
Bye from New Zealand.